Good afternoon. Y'all can do better than that. Good afternoon. Thank you. All right. My name is Lance J. Franklin II, and my pronouns are he, him, and his. Over the past year, as I completed graduate school, I was proud to work with SMYAL as part of its first cohort of clinical interns. In its new clinical services department. Today I want to share about my experience and the importance of representation in therapy. I began my master's in social work program with the intention of eventually providing counseling services as a licensed clinical social worker to queer Black youth. Growing up, I lacked queer role models who understood the struggles and the unique challenges I had, and saw becoming a therapist as an extraordinary opportunity to help people like myself. I believe therapy is an empowering tool and effective against combating mental health problems. It saved my life. So becoming an LCSW in the future will be my way of helping others reclaim their lives like I did. Thank you. When I first realized my attractions to the same sex as an adolescent, I spiraled into a depression because I thought being gay was an abomination. In fact, it was ingrained in me since childhood through my Baptist upbringing and my Catholic school education. Luckily, my parents, regardless of their feelings about my sexuality, noticed my change in mood and sought professional help. It is because of therapy that I began the process of accepting who I was and loving myself. However, sometimes I wonder if my parents never intervened or if we didn't have the resources to afford therapy, where would I be today? Would I even be alive? And while I found support in therapy, I still struggled with questions regarding how to navigate my sexuality in a heterosexual-centered world. It was difficult to completely expose my innermost thoughts to my cisgender female heterosexual therapist. I asked myself, what does she know? She's never lived a day in my shoes. Sure, she understood the nuances of being Black in America, but sexual orientation was a different ballgame. How would she know what my experience was like? I always believed I would have benefited from speaking to someone with a queer-affirming identity or approach, especially when discussing sensitive matters such as being gay, coming out, trauma, gender identity and expression, social stigma, discrimination, and mental illness. Unfortunately, LGBTQIA supports were unavailable in the urban and religious area in which I lived. Therefore, I learned much about myself through television portrayals, the internet, and later, as a result, when I was finally able to explore at university. Currently, the need for Black queer therapists and counselors has grown exponentially over the years. It is one of the driving factors in my quest for going clinical because I understand how crucial my role is. And that's one of the reasons I am grateful for having the opportunity to work with SMYAL as an intern. When I was seeking placement for my advanced year internship at University of Maryland, Baltimore, I was adamant in working for a queer-affirming organization. Last summer, my liaison learned SMYAL was seeking interns for its new mental health counseling center. And it was a no-brainer for me. This is where I was meant to be. During my internship, I encountered various youth. I learned how to be an effective therapist while making mistakes and headway along the journey. One client I am honored to have counseled was a trans person experiencing effects of trauma, gender dysphoria, and transitioning. For approximately 6 months, we worked together. And through this collaboration, they were able to start the process of being the person they always were. Although I was there to facilitate, they were the drivers of the therapeutic process. And I know it was challenging at times for them, but it makes me proud to know they had the courage and the tenacity to live in their truth. Youth like that client reaffirm why it's important to have therapy by queer people for queer people. As the incomparable Laverne Cox stated, by doing the work to love ourselves more, I believe we will love each other better. And I've never heard a much truer statement. Although my initial therapy was not with a clear clinician, I learned the importance of having representation. Thus, by supporting and mentoring our youth to love themselves effortlessly, I too can smile. Thank you.